your kind attention and permission, I have the honor of presenting to you one of the most remarkable men in the world.
Hello. My name is Fritz KO, and welcome to my YouTube
channel, Fritz KO Vids.
Hello, my name is Fritz KO. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm currently fighting the YouTube algorithm. Basically, it's my fault for not making any YouTube videos in such a long period of time. How you can help me with this is by hitting the like button, subscribing if you're not subscribed, hitting the notification bell, sharing these videos to forums that you think are applicable, like Facebook forums, and also showing them to your friends. This could help me out a lot. And it could help me help you if you want more content from me. Today's video's title is Everything You Know About the Ancient Pyramids is Wrong. And I'm going to explain to you why. A lot of people that are involved with my channel are heavily into conspiracy theories. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a conspiracy theory buff. My favorite thing to do with them is to debunk them. And it's interesting. I'm currently making this video in the middle of a thunderstorm, so if you can hear that in the background, I apologize. This just goes into the fact of whenever I get a free moment, something always comes up that seems to try to stop me from making a video. I've spent a lot of time looking into a lot of different subjects, and the pyramids is one that has always interested me from a child, just like UFOs and Bigfoot and all these other different subjects. My stepfather was a science teacher and an avid personal, his own hobby, historian, so I spent lots of time as a child growing up watching documentaries, and I enjoyed doing so. I learned a lot from him and a lot from the documentaries that he had me watching constantly growing up as a child, and I thank him very much for that. I think just like with news, documentaries, and different other television series that are posing as documentaries such as Ancient Aliens, we live in a very complex time. The age of deception, if any of you are familiar with the different ages that mankind has went through. We are now living in the age of deception. And I think it's sad that a consistent theory that you hear from these people that are supposedly exposing the truth on a program such as Ancient Aliens is that it's not possible for ancient man to possess any artistic skill. Nor was he clever, nor was he able to come up with problem solving, interesting problem solving techniques of his own on the fly. I think it's quite the contrary. I think it'd be the opposite for us nowadays. Compared to ancient man was used to for thousands of years working with his hands, those skills passed down from generation to generation. Anything that they wanted to be able to do, they had nothing but time to work on it. And I think people forget the fact when we talk about pyramids and things like that, that blocks could be put on rafts and floated on rivers, and that these ancient cultures had elephants that they did war with. I'm pretty sure they used them to move them, some of these blocks, to build some of these things around. Heck, I would have. I'm not saying it's not possible that an ancient civilization a technologically advanced civilization wasn't responsible for the creation of the pyramids and any other megalithic structure that you may choose desire to bring up in the comment section, because I want you to tell me what you think about what I'm talking here. It'd be nice if you could keep it friendly. We could have a conversation. I know it's hard for people to do that nowadays when they're all coming from a place of their victim. You hurt me with your conversation. I'm just kidding around here, guys. But long story short, there's a lot of information we're going to touch on here. I just want to add food for thought here. What all do you know about the ancient pyramids? Because that's the topic of this video. Do you know that there's multiple different theories on how they possibly could have been constructed by man? There's not really any theories on how they could have been constructed by ancient civilizations. Either though there's some extremely vague ones, like maybe they used harmonic sounds to move the blocks and things of that nature. So, I mean, there's nothing really like, hey, they had this technology, we found this. It's possible that it was ancient civilization technology that was used to help build the pyramids. There's none of that. So, it's purely what you would call speculation. It could be true. I'm not trying to get beat up in the comment section by dashing people's dreams here, because that's not what my goal is. My goal is, with my YouTube channel and all my videos, is to get you to think. And I want you to get your news and your information from unbiased sources that let you draw your own conclusions. Everyone has an agenda. My agenda is to bring you unbiased information. And even in doing so, I am still biased. Everyone is, in one way, shape, form, or fashion or another. And that's something you have to figure out when you're choosing to get information from a said individual. Take, for example, Alex Jones. What is his agenda? What is he trying to do? And then you take that into consideration with all your videos that you watch, of all the videos that you watch from Alex Jones. It's not to say that you can't get any factual information from Alex Jones. Alex Jones uses factual information, and like various different other news medias, they put their own personal spin, their own personal feelings into it. If you watched a lot of news programs when I was a child growing up, I was born in 1982. As of this video creation, I'm 38 years old. A lot of the news that was presented back in those days was extremely boring and unbiased. It was basically just factual information. And if you want to get entertainment value, you probably should not do that, and you'll probably get more viewership if you're Fox or CNN, and you put all this emotion into your news. But what that does is it divides people. It doesn't bring people together to have healthy conversations, healthy debates, which is something that my generation, at least the vast majority of us, seem to be able to do. I don't think a lot of the younger generations are able to express their differences and opinions in healthy manners. All you have to do is see the riots in the streets today and see people burning down the cities to realize that that's exactly what's happening. People are going crazy and they can't even have conversations with each other anymore. Let's change that here on my channel. What I want to do today is I want to give you a little food for thought, and I want to present to you all the different theories on the construction of the pyramids. I went ahead and slapped this stuff into the computer voice. Don't hate me, alright? There's a lot of information that I want to be able to convey to you in a quick manner here. So, without further ado, let's get right to it.
Despite our modern technology and the research of our brilliant modern minds, there are still several great unsolved mysteries in the world. The KFC chicken recipe, the Loch Ness Monster, and the Egyptian pyramids of Giza all rank near the top. But the pyramids definitely take the cake as the biggest mystery of them all. The Egyptian pyramids of Giza are some of the most impressive structures in history. It's estimated that they were built over 4,500 years ago with over 2 million stones, and took 20 to 30 years to make. But how were the Egyptian pyramids built exactly? It's still a secret. There is no evidence, no ancient plans, and certainly no shortage of conspiracy theories. But that doesn't stop us from donning our historian hats and doing some digging. There are two major theories floating around: the ramp theory and the water shaft. So what's the difference? The ramp theory is probably the most generally accepted and has the most evidence to back it up. In a nutshell, it discusses that the pyramids were made with sheer manpower and tens of thousands of workers. Stones were supposedly pulled across the desert with ropes and sleds. and it's only recently that the RT was updated to include that they would also wet the sand to reduce friction. The wet sand made the stones a lot easier to drag, and this practice can actually be seen in some ancient wall paintings. Once the stones were dragged across the desert. It's believed that one of a series of ramp options were erected to drag the stones to the top as they built upwards. With sand, workers created either a straight ramp up one side, a spiraling ramp that wrapped around the pyramid, or a combination of the two. Levers were also supposedly used once a significant height was reached and ramps were no longer feasible. This theory is supported by the fact that sleds are well documented in ancient wall paintings, as are images of giant statues being pulled by hundreds of men. These ramps would have, however, been very time-consuming to construct. For a look at the different ramp options in this theory, here's a video discussing the method. The ramp theory. The water shaft theory differs from the ramp theory at most points, starting with how the stones were transported. While the RT discusses dragging stones across the desert, the WST outlines that special canals were constructed all the way to the build sites, allowing the stones to float all the way there. Floats were supposedly made of cedar wood or inflated animal skins wrapped in papyrus, and when attached to the stones would allow them to be pulled from the shore. The canals lead to a moat that went all the way around the build site perimeter, allowing blocks to be floated to the side where they were needed. 4 water pipelines were then supposedly used to float the blocks uphill, and were extended as the pyramid grew. A series of gates controlled how the blocks moved upward from the moat to the top, and a pool of water on the top of the build site allowed for further floating and positioning without any dragging or real heavy lifting. In this theory, these canals and water elevators allowed the stones to be moved pretty easily. Although there is no concrete documented evidence of this theory, traces of water throughout the structure and imperfections along the middle of all 4 sides have been identified to support the WST. There's no real consensus on how the blocks were made either, and the WST has its own theory on block creation. Copper chisels or saws were used to cut the limestone, but the creation of precise cuts and angles without modern technology could have been done in a few ways. Some WST supporters say Egyptians used the surface of the water as a level and worked on the stone underwater, making it easier to manipulate. Others cite the use of simple tools such as wooden levels, paint and string to measure the angles and detect spots that weren't level. Other theories, although the above are the most widely accepted theories, there are some intriguing alternatives floating around as well. Extraterrestrials, long-lost technologies, time travel, they go on and on. Find a summary of some of the best theories here. Regardless of what you believe, there's no arguing that the Egyptian pyramids are ridiculously impressive for the time period, and that we'll probably never get a concrete answer as to how they were built. We can all agree that it took an insane amount of intelligence and manpower, and that we are so fortunate to have them still standing after all these years. For now, we'll continue to listen to the newest theories, marvel over the pyramids themselves, and keep them on the top of our travel bucket lists indefinitely. Like and subscribe. Add and view comments, share this on social media.
If you like this video, here's what you can do to help spread the message. Like it and share it on YouTube, Facebook, and other social media. Show this video to your friends and family. Connect with me, Fritz Ko, on Facebook and help start an information revolution. And again, as always, thank you for watching.
I know the truth, and somebody gotta tell it or die trying.